In today's video, Hollywood star Chris Pratt makes a stunning admission on the Bill Maher podcast about RFK Jr. Also on RFK Jr., he has launched an investigation into the corrupt practices surrounding organ harvesting. And in this video, I will show you both sides, the facts, and of course, give you the bottom line.
In politics, you inherit enemies, and when you jump on the bandwagon with who is the most divisive president ever, it makes sense that you're going to be made to look terrible, and so I don't know what to believe, because it's not like I sit with Bobby and I go, so hey, let's talk about this. Let's talk about. It's like we're just playing cards or playing Mafia or having fun or having dinner. I'm not going to pick his brain to find out exactly which of those things are true. I just kind of assume that none of them are. And for the most part, I wish him well, man. I hope there's certain things that he oversees that seem to be supported in a bipartisan way, like getting terrible toxic stuff out of our kids' food. I think that's a great thing. And so, if you do that, that's amazing. I'd hate to be so mired in hatred for the president that any success from his administration is something I'd have an allergic reaction to. To be like, oh, well, if they do it, I don't want it to happen. I'll put Clorox in my children's cereal myself. It's like, come on, be reasonable here. There's certain things that would be a good thing to have. I want them all to be successful.
Clearly, Chris Pratt is saying exactly what the moderate, someone who's a critical thinker, someone who doesn't have Trump derangement syndrome would say about our country is, it's one thing to disagree with him, but if you hate him so much that you're willing to ignore the good that is happening in this administration, you're no better. And that's really where I stand on a lot of issues. That's why I always show you what both sides are saying, because my hope is to inspire people to look past their derangement syndrome of the president and look at the truth, the objective truth about things that are positive for our country, like cracking down on crime in D.C. Or like in this video, what we're going to get into, the good work that RFK Jr. has been doing, because quite frankly, he's been doing a lot of good. It's been flying under the radar because everybody wants to talk about Trump, me included. But I think it's time that we actually cover a few things. And one of those things happened to be this story here that we're going to get into that shows the good work from RFK Jr. They are investigating a Kentucky company who's responsible for harvesting organs. They've been caught doing that while the person is alive. Take a listen.
The Department of Health and Human Services is investigating the organ donation system in the U.S. after a disturbing report by the New York Times found that a Kentucky nonprofit in charge of the state's organ procurement program was allegedly planning on harvesting organs from people who were still showing signs of life. The Times reporting that about 350 cases in Kentucky over the past 4 years in which plans to remove organs were ultimately canceled. In 73 instances, officials should have considered stopping sooner because patients had high or improving levels of consciousness.
Let me show you the language. This is in the story from the New York Times. And by the way, this is what the legacy media should be doing. More investigations like this. Quote, the investigation centered on an increasingly common practice called donation after circulatory death. Can someone tell me what that means? I've never heard of it. Unlike most organ donors who are brain dead, patients in these cases have some brain function but are on life support and not expected to recover. Often they are in a coma, and so they remove their organs. But there have been situations where they actually wake up. Okay, here's what RFK Jr. had to say in his investigation into what's going on in Kentucky. Take a listen.
Organs harvested from patients that are still moving. I heard that from a congressional hearing last week. What can you tell us?
Yeah, I mean, it's a horror story. And part of it is because of the capture of the agency that was regulating ORR. The board that was actually regulating organ harvesting was overlapping with the contractor that was actually harvesting the organs. And it was done state by state. Some of the states were just truly, it was a nightmare. And it was sickening to read these stories. They had one instance where a family was waiting at the hospital for the body of their deceased relative. The relative was brought to one of these private organ harvesting centers, awoke while they were harvesting her organs, and then was brought back to the hospital where she died eventually. But the family, brought litigation, and that's the only reason that we learned of this story. We've done a complete investigation of that company. We've taken the contract away from that company, and we're reorganizing it so that we will be regulating it and running it directly at HHS, and this will never happen again.
The secretary there has pointed out that these people will be held accountable. In fact, the contract was canceled, which is a great thing. And I even felt compelled to look it up myself on the HHS.gov website. I found where they stated this: these findings from HHS confirm what the Trump administration has long warned. Entrenched bureaucracies, outdated systems, and reckless disregard for human life have failed to protect our most vulnerable citizens. Under Secretary Kennedy's leadership, HHS is restoring integrity and transparency to organ procurement and transplant policy by putting patients' lives first. Yeah, so this entire story gets interesting because in this next clip, Paul Byrne, who is a doctor, he is actually one of the largest and vocal critics of what the medical industry calls brain death. Here he is describing why they use that term in order to harvest organs. Take a look.
Brain death is a lie. So people don't even realize it's a lie anymore. But it's been a lie from the beginning, continues to be a lie. They invented brain death mainly to get organs, but then also so they don't waste money on treating people who aren't ever going to get a job, who are just going to live and not die. And so to see what brain death is, it's primarily a way to get organs. You cannot get any organs from a cadaver. Every organ that's transplanted is a healthy organ, and you can only get healthy organs from living persons. You cannot get any organs for transplant from a cadaver. The things I'm telling you is that you are not allowed to hear, because if you hear it, you will be upset.
Let's circle back on the New York Times. They just published this story today talking about the debate over defining death. You know what that means. They are trying to change the language of what the word death really means in order to, support the business of organ harvesting. I mean, these people are just sick. Now, not all organ harvesting companies and the practice of it is evil, okay? There's a lot of positive in it, but there are some stories that really makes your heart break. Take a listen.
In 2022, Daniela Gallegos, she fell into a coma at a New Mexico hospital and was allegedly going to have her organs harvested. On the day of the surgery, Daniela's family reported seeing her move. According to the New York Times, donor officials allegedly still pushed for the operation despite signs of life. The hospital refused. Daniela reportedly went on to make a full recovery. Now, this case is not the only one. In 2021, a Kentucky man named TJ Hoover was rushed to the hospital after a suspected overdose. Doctors believed he wouldn't survive and flagged that he was an organ donor. TJ was moments away from the organ harvesting procedure. Suddenly, he woke up. Fortunately, TJ survived, but he lives with PTSD since that day. Meanwhile, a federal investigation into nonprofit group Kentucky Organ Donor Affiliates, also known as CODA, may have pushed hospital workers towards surgery despite a patient's signs of life. It's important to remember organ donations do play a vital role in our society when done appropriately. There were over 48,000 life-saving transplants in 2024.
Okay, so essentially, what do we have right now? We have a Kentucky business who is harvesting organs of people who are still alive. 2, the business of harvesting organs is not actually suited in the best interest of American citizens. It's all about making money. We know that. And we're not even talking about abortions that take place where they resell the body parts on the black market. That's a whole nother thing. 3, you have bureaucracy that's been clearly jacking up the system. And then on top of all that, which I find to be the most disturbing, Democrats and mainstream media not only don't want to talk about it, but they ignore the investigation that RFK Jr. has launched into this to fix this issue. Now, no matter how you feel about Trump, isn't that a good thing? And what's fascinating, when we went and did the research, American First Legal last year actually sued HHS, CMS, and HRSA to expose an illegal Biden-era plan to give out organ transplants based on race and ethnicity, not medical need.
According to data from the Oregon Procurement and Transportation Network, there are more than 116,000 requests for organ donations. 62% of people waiting for an organ are ethnic minorities. Although donations are not matched by race or ethnicity, a more diverse pool of donors means more access for those on the waiting list. And that's why groups are here in Washington, D.C. trying to reach out to communities to empower them about the impact of becoming an organ donor.
I told you guys, DEI, when it comes to organ transplants, are happening on both sides of this entire cycle, okay? They're prioritizing people who they give the transplant to. They're also prioritizing people who they do the transplant for. I mean, this is getting out of hand. Now, what I want to do right now in this video is bring on an expert. Her name is Kim Bright from Brightcore. I love her perspective on health and wellness, especially on this issue of organ transplants. And then we're also going to cover another important story coming from RFK Jr. that supports exactly what Chris Pratt was saying at the beginning of this video, that there's a lot of good things happening in our country, but Democrats continue to ignore it because they hate President Trump that much. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring her on now. How's it going, Kim?
Hey, Devori, thanks for having me. It's going great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So what do you think about this whole DEI situation in regards to organ transplant? I mean, why are they so obsessed with it?
Well, I think that was the old Biden infrastructure and the administration, with this affirmative action for organs. We need to restore colorblind healthcare and dismantle the Biden DEI infrastructure. Did you see how they're trying to push people to be organ donors by trying to, really look at the ethnicity and the race? And this is craziness. This is not going anywhere the right direction. So I agree with you. This is it wasn't a good look then. And thank goodness, we have the right people in place now that can actually do the right thing and treat people equally, no matter what color they are. So I think we're moving in the right direction.
Now, speaking of RK Jr., I do have a clip to show us because it's really turning into a living nightmare, as they say. Take a look at this.
Donna, thank you for being with us here today. Jennifer, you as well. I'd love to start with you, Donna. This is an absolutely terrifying story, almost unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Tell us.
More like a horror movie.
It is almost like a horror movie. How did this happen?
We're still working on learning how that happened.
From what I understand and from what I've read, at some point in the process, as TJ's being wheeled into the organ harvesting process, his eyes open. He starts tracking people in the hallway. And according to the doctors, correct me if I'm wrong, tell me more, please. He then starts moving on the operating table, at which point they called it?
Yes, almost immediately his eyes started to open. And they wasn't just opening, they were tracking. And, they stopped him in the honor walk so the family could say their goodbyes, because we could only have 10 people because of, COVID restrictions. So they stopped him so we could say, our goodbyes, the rest of the family could. And the ICU supervisor said sometimes they do respond with reflexes, and made us stop recording his honor walk. And
so they explained it away.
They explained it away, correct.
It's such a sad story to me, Kim, because it shows you once again that you cannot stake your health and your life on what the federal government is going to do or not do. And we really got to make some smart choices about our health. But man, what an experience to have to wake up and know that your organs were going to be used as a donation.
Yeah, didn't show there, though, what you didn't see in that clip, which there was a much larger clip, longer clip, was that the girl that was there with the organization that takes the donated organs, she was on the phone with her supervisor. And she was saying, look, we're going to have to cancel this. The doctors aren't going to operate. He's not dead. And the person on the other end, the supervisor, said, well, then you go find another doctor that will do it. We need those organs. This is a very shady situation.
Right.
It's very, there's a lot of money involved with the organ transplants and donations. And so this just shows that the investigations that they're going to do are going to bring light to a very shady area. Now, they're doing an investigation. They show that this happens all over America, but where they found in their investigation the most disturbing practices and the most people having problems with this was in Kentucky.
Absolutely. All right. So here's another thing, because I want to stay on RFK Jr. because I believe he's been flying under the radar, but he's been doing some impactful things, and I think this clip is an example of that. Let's go to this now.
And his latest effort will be removing harmful microplastics found in our food, water, and even air.
We don't know the effects of microplastics in the human body, but we have disturbing studies that link microplastics to cancer, to dementia, and reproductive problems. Those societal costs are borne by the public rather than those producers who expose us to those chemicals, not out of malice, but for their own economic survival. This is a market failure.
Wow. Yeah. So I think everybody has probably heard this once or twice about microplastics. And before I get your take on it, my wife, she's not a lover of plastics. Okay. She actually attempts to live she would call it a zero waste lifestyle. And quite frankly, I've been enjoying it because I think you save money and your area is a little bit more or less cluttered. But anyways, that's my own personal experience on it. The fact of the matter is, I know personally, because some of my friends have described this, how their testosterone level has been down. We know that in America, the birth rate is down. People being fertile enough to obviously get pregnant, that has gone down as well. Do you believe it's related to microplastics?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, right now, humans are ingesting 6 times more microplastics than they did in 1990. Cornell University did a study, and the whole thing shows that we are just taking in more and more plastic. And if you live in the Asian countries, you're ingesting up to 50 times more plastics because of the diets over there are so centered around seafoods and other foods that are just loaded with the microplastics and the nanoplastics that you can't even see in water, in air, in food. It's absolutely awful. And it affects not only reproductive system, but it affects just about every area of our body.
So I'm happy that RFK is on this. And 1990. Wow. I mean, we're already 35 years in then. So we still are going to see the long-term damage of that probably in the next couple of decades when they do the full study, of a person's life. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to this one because it gets even deeper. And this is a clip about microplastics in the brain.
Start with a new study on the impact of microplastics, which found human brains contained as much plastic as a plastic spoon, which is up 50% from 2016.
What we're finding is in the brains of people who have dementia, there's actually higher amounts of microplastics. So essentially, these microplastics, or these tiny little particles of plastics, are crossing the blood-brain barrier, and they're depositing into our brain. And they're being correlated with increased risk of neurodegenerative diseases like dementia, possibly linked to autism and other things that affect the brain. There's also evidence showing increased risk of stroke, and increase inflammation overall. So I have always said, listen, there's no way to avoid microplastics entirely unless you're going to live in a bubble. And by the way, that bubble couldn't be a plastic bubble. It'd have to be a glass bubble.
I think most of it is definitely education. And then a part of it is policy. Like, what is the government doing to actually change some of this stuff? Because they've allowed, obviously, plastic And I'm not saying plastic is 110% bad, because clearly, I mean, we're using plastic right now, right? I mean, so I guess what do you want to see from RFK Jr. and the policies in regards to microplastics?
I want him to go hard at this, because this is so devastating. And I know the UN just had a meeting of representatives over in Geneva, I think it was last week, where they're trying to set worldwide some, like train tracks for a train to run on, for the whole world to adhere to. So we've got to get very serious about this, because this is really it's devastating to everyone on the whole planet, because microplastics are everywhere. Everywhere, in the air, in the soil, in the water, from the Arctic to the Antarctic, they're everywhere.
Now, I know it sounds like doom and gloom for people watching, but there is a way. I know there is, and we'll get to it. But if the microplastics in your brain is not disturbing enough, I think this next clip will be.
White ones, we've got clear ones.
Tons of microplastics wash ashore all over the world every day. And now, for the first time, scientists in the Netherlands have detected microplastic pollution in human blood.
All the microplastics and nanoplastics we are exposed to, we inhale and we ingest, that actually, there's so much plastic that it can even enter our bloodstream.
The Dutch study on blood samples from healthy adults detected tiny plastic particles in 80% of people.
80%. 80%. So we might as well be 50% human, 50% plastic, right?
Well, no, let's not say that. Let's not go there with that. No. No, let's not do that. But no, it's so underpinning our health, and for us to lead healthy lives. I mean, these microplastics that they're finding in the blood clots, Devori, they're linked to the higher risk of heart attacks and strokes, as they said, but the severity increases with the level of microplastics that you have in your blood. And of course, blood goes everywhere. And this study that they did, it showing in the deep veins in our lower extremities, people that are having heart attacks and ischemic strokes, where the blood is blocked from getting to the brain. So you have a stroke. And the brain is our fattest organ. And it's pulling in the most microplastics, 7 to 30 times more than our kidneys and liver. They're the second and the third fattiest organ, and the microplastics are going around those. So now, though, I have to give the good news. We need some good news. We need some relief, right, Devori? This is like heavy stuff. All right. Well, I was so excited because I found out that this BPA is actually degraded by a bacteria that is a good bacteria for us, called Bacillus pumilus. Now, this is a strain of bacteria that is unique, and it is found in kimchi. It's the fermented food used for centuries, and it has proven itself to be an incredible food. Now, we must take active steps to remove these toxins from the body before they do the irreversible damage that can't be undone. And eating kimchi that has the Bacillus pumilus in it, that's been shown to be able to deactivate this BPA. So this gives us some relief and gives us a choice to help rid our body of these plastics that up till now there's been no other way to break this BPA down and then bind it and get rid of it out of our body.
Now, good news here that we have is a clip of RFK Jr. acknowledging he eats kimchi. So at least we have someone in the government who understands this, right?
I think it's very important he understands it. Yes.
Exactly. Out of all people. Let's go to watch this really quickly. Take a look.
Ask Bobby Kennedy, our secretary, what his diet is. If you look at him, he's so fit.
He's not on the Ozempic diet.
He's not on Ozempic.
No, he's fit. He's
fit, and he's all about eating healthy food. And I asked him what his diet was, and I asked him how many pull-ups he could do, but I also asked him his diet, and this is what he said. A lot of people want to know, what's the Bobby Kennedy diet?
Basically, it's a carnivore diet, so it's mainly meat and then fermented vegetable, anything fermented. So a lot of yogurt, a good yogurt without sugar in it.
Kefir.
And then coleslaw and kimchi and all kinds of fermented vegetables. And it's really, I would say it's dramatically changed my, everything.
Right.
So I've had very good luck with it.
High protein.
Anybody who knows RFK, he's lived a very interesting life.
Yes.
And for him to still be alive today, and he obviously gives that credit to kimchi. I think that says something there. But I guess my question for you is, why do you think he chose kimchi in his diet? What do you think it's done for him?
Well, to me, kimchi is the king of fermented food. I've been helping people with their health for almost 50 years now. And I've studied all traditional diets and people that live the longest and why. And kimchi, to me, is the king of fermented foods because of its over 900 unique probiotic strains. And so many of these are not found in any other fermented foods, like sauerkraut, for instance. People think, oh, well, I can eat sauerkraut. That's fermented food. No, it does not have 900 unique strains like kimchi does, and especially the 3 that we covered that will degrade and bind and take out these microplastics. And kimchi, you need it fresh. Like if you buy it in a jar that's in the middle of the store where the sauerkraut and pickles are, that's been pasteurized. So it's killed off all the good bacteria. Now, the thing about kimchi is it strengthens our immunity. 70 to 80% of our immunity is in our gut, and it replenishes the good bacteria that crowds out those harmful microbes. And it's producing compounds that modulate responses, the good guys versus the bad guys, that war that's going on. We've got to keep that balance there. And kimchi is also antimicrobial. What does that mean? Antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, and anti-parasitic. And what's so great about it too is people that have had problems their whole life or for short periods of constipation, diarrhea, all kinds of, acid reflux, things like this. They eat kimchi, the digestion smooths out almost immediately. So kimchi is very powerful for that. And also, there was an obesity study done over a 12-week period with 90 people, and they were eating 1 to 3 servings a day. It showed that it reduced their body fat, lowered their triglycerides, their bad cholesterol, the LDL, and it mitigated that obesity by increasing the healthy, good bacteria in the gut, specific strains only found in kimchi.
Wow. I mean, it sounds like the perfect thing people should be consuming, no matter their age, right?
Exactly, no matter what their age is.
Okay, so there was just to back up what you were saying, because we always like to show some facts here for people to reference. There was a study on obesity. Let me play that clip for us now. Take a look.
Here in Hawaii, kimchi, it's a local favorite, and now a new study gives us even more reason to like kimchi. A recently published report in South Korea found that people who ate moderate amounts of kimchi daily are at a lower risk for developing obesity. The report found that Korean men who consumed 1 to 3 servings of kimchi a day are less likely to develop obesity than those who ate less than a serving per day. So there you go, pound down the kimchi.
I guess my question for you is what is the best way you found to consume kimchi? Because I'm sure there's multiple ways to do it. That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, you can make your own, or you can buy it in a store in the refrigerated section. However, what I found through the years in counseling so many people, most Americans have a problem with the smell and the taste of kimchi.
Exactly.
So what I did, what we did at Brightcore is we wanted people to have these incredible benefits. So we took the benefits, we took kimchi, and we were able to get it in a capsule without losing its benefits, without losing its live enzymes, without losing all of its benefits for people and its vitamin content and the fiber content that's so important, because that's a prebiotic to feed the probiotic guys, the good guys that we went over. So we put it in a capsule form. So So you have it conveniently, because we found out that people will swallow 3 capsules a day. They won't make the kimchi, or they won't go to the store and keep eating kimchi every single day at every single meal like the Koreans do. So they will take 3 capsules. They don't deal with the taste or the smell. It's low in sodium. Your homemade kimchis or store-bought kimchis are extremely high in sodium. So if you have any kind of problem with that, then this is so good for you to have in capsule form. We make it in the USA, 100% made here, and it's all natural, non-GMO, and we have so many people share with us their successes with it. Again, digestion, bloating goes down. Digestion is completely changed and normalized. People are, having younger looking skin, thicker hair, losing weight. People are, that took the jab have told us that they don't have the symptoms from, what they had before. Their fatigue's gone, their brain fog's gone,
Wow.
their energy levels are back. They don't have all of the complications that they had. So countless success stories, Devori. We're so proud of it, and people love it. And people see the result with their friends and family, and they call in and say, this has really changed their life. I want to have some too.
All right. Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that you have something like that for people that could be easily consumed, because I'll just be honest with you, I'm not eating that. Not the way it smells, that's just I have something when it comes to texture. So I think that like I remember when I was a kid and I tried sauerkraut, and I know it's not exactly the same, but I
No.
immediately threw it up immediately, and it was like a bad memory for me. So I've never been able to eat it since. But I'm really happy to hear that you have that, Kim. So yeah, go ahead. I guess how could people get that kimchi
Well,
one?
we want people to repair their guts, their whole body, get the plastics out of their brain and their arteries and everything. So have your viewers go to mybrightcore.com/Devori, and they'll get 25% off using the code Devori. Or what I really prefer, because I've educated people on their health for almost 50 years, like I said, and I like people to call in. We have a staff that loves to talk to people. And when you call in, we give you that incentive because we want to make sure it's good for you and answer any questions. So call in at 888-633-0535. We're going to give you free shipping and up to 50% off of your order. And that's again, 888-633-0535. And I'm also going to throw in a free bottle of vitamin D3 for the first 100 callers that call in. And we just want to help people. We want them to be healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. I mean, listen, I'm a big vitamin guy, and my, I guess, problem has always been how I consume the vitamins, and I'm always looking for the easiest way to do that. So I'm really happy to hear that you have something like that, Kim, and I hope people were educated today, because again, if you don't have the information and you're not really understanding what's happening inside your body and what you're being exposed to, clearly we are now seeing all these issues pop up in our country, and whether it's autism or all these other illnesses, call it whatever you want. The problem is our consumption. And so I'm really happy to hear that you're part of the solution. That's really what I'd love to say about you, Kim. I really appreciate the work you're doing, and that you have something like that.
Well, thank you. And we appreciate the work you're doing too. So may we continue all together, go down the road and be healthier and happier. And let's make America healthy again.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that's Kim Bright from BrightCore. Thank you so much for your time today, Kim.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was our interview with Kim Bright from BrightCore. Just an amazing person. And really, I want to hear from you guys at this point in the comment section below to a couple of things. Number one, this entire story regarding harvesting people's organs while they're alive. I mean, that is ridiculous. The DEI that was involved, the affirmative action that was involved, the fact that these people had to sue, and now RFK Jr. has canceled the contract. I mean, isn't that a positive thing? Okay, let me know if you guys agree with that. And secondly, What's your take on kimchi? Have you consumed kimchi before? Have you heard of it? Did you learn anything about kimchi in this interview with Kim? Also, microplastics, huge thing. Once again, it's another subject where we as American citizens are being exposed to toxins that we're just not aware of. Let me know if you guys got value from that. Just put all your thoughts in the comments section below.